All right, welcome to the Smeggy Cave. How's everyone doing today? Just outside enjoying the beautiful weather, playing with the pup. Just got done listening to a pretty good show. Um, Crap, what's that guy's name? It was on G-Web's show last night. Oh my god. Damn, I wanted to give him a shout out because it was a good show. Maybe some of you are coming from there, as it'll remind me what the heck I was just watching. G-Web did a chat with him last night. And then he does a radio show. He's got a gun shop. Cool dude. And I am completely blanking on what the heck that name is. So, anyways, I dropped the link in the chat. If any of you guys want to jump in, help yourself. If I know who you are, I'll let you in. As long as you're not that one weirdo dude. So, who's out there? Am I just blabbing to myself? You guys all know I'm not good at that. I need help. Somebody talk to me. No one's even talking. That's okay. I guess I'm just the only one who cares about the Second Amendment in the entire world. Otherwise, there'd be millions of people in here. Oh, hey, Scott, what's going on? This is just a, I don't know, spontaneous chat. Like I said, I was just listening to the other one, which I really feel bad. I don't remember what the heck his name is. Hopefully G-Web cruises by because he knows him. But anyways, I was listening to that, and it seemed like, they were talking about a lot of stuff. I know he's over in, like the northeast part. They were talking about rosters and all this shenanigans with magazine stuff. So pretty good conversation going on. I missed most of it. I guess he does like a radio show thing, and then I think I kind of jumped in right near the end of that. And then after that is when he was starting to respond to the YouTube chat, catching up on questions and things. But I don't know. Maybe in the middle of the day, no one's around. But I got all the time in the world. There's going to be a pot of gold auction tonight. I think G-Webs is going to do a live show during it. They have a couple of cool. One of them's a little pen gun, like the one that folds in half. And then when you fold it in half, the trigger comes out. So it's a non-NFA item. It's just a handgun because it doesn't fire in like the pen configuration. It fires with a grip and a trigger and a barrel. And I think there's something about that makes it just a regular handgun. So I guess as long as like the hand, I don't know, whatever, as long as it like folds out and it looks like an L when it's firing, it's considered a handgun. But if it was a pen gun that fired like looking straight, then it would be considered an NFA item. Forget if that's any other weapon. I think that's what the category is. Just like a cane gun or an umbrella gun, stuff like that. I think they consider those AOWs because it's a gun that fires. It doesn't look like what you would think a gun looks like. So it's like, oh, this thing is concealed or something weird. I don't know. You guys know I hate the NFA, so it's stupid, arbitrary, should go away. But anyways, they have that, and they have one that's like a Swiss Army knife. The Swiss Army knife has a gun barrel on it that folds out. And the same thing, once you fold it out, that's when the trigger pops out, and that's when it's in its firing condition. So that is also considered a non-NFA. I mean, it looks weird, but I guess according to the definition, it looks like a handgun. So then it doesn't need any special tax stamps or anything like that. Oh man, it's so hot out. Dog doesn't even want to play anymore. This dude's been hiding in the shade the whole time. He's smart. What's going on, Chris? Well, we'll let the dog cool off a little bit. Turn the camera off. No one wants to stare at dirt in my backyard. But once he cools off, if he comes back out, I'll turn the camera back on. I know everyone likes seeing the dogs. See, that was a short break. I just got to be careful because he will play himself to overheating. So I'll just keep an eye on it. We'll go inside, get some water in a little bit, and then come back out. But we just got out here, so he's got a little bit more time in him. But yes, it is very warm today. Normally doesn't get that hot around here. Like there's only a few times. Oh, yep, see, he's back in the shade. All right. Maybe we'll go get some water now. Come on, everybody, let's go inside. Do 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 do. It's my walking song. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Come on. Oh, he's staring at me. I don't want to go inside. You're going to take my toy away from me. Well, yes, I am going to take your toy away from you, but it's for your own good. All right, go on, go upstairs. All right, let's get this door closed up. All right, I have my phone sitting down. I didn't see if anyone said anything. I set my phone down to go grab the stuff. Nope, no one said nothing. Cool. But yeah, we're going to go upstairs. We're going to get a little bit of water, cool this guy off. Then we'll go back out. It's actually pretty nice once you go inside. I don't have air conditioning, so it's good that the house stays pretty cool. So, anyways, what else is going on, guys? Ask your gun questions. I'm gonna quirk Saturday's chat of ask gun questions. So I will give you the absolutely correct, no way that I'm just making it up top of my head answer. Oh, these guys need a little bit more water. Got one of these automatic water things. You take the big water jug, tip it upside down, and then keeps the bottom part full. So I'll leave water in the bottom so they can drink. And I'll fill up the jug. Ooh, I got a package on the front porch. Not for me though, nothing exciting. Fragile. Established in LA. Huh. I have a Fragile box from LA. Okay. Like I said, it's not for me, so I'm not going to open it. Get some water, buddy. It's like following me around. Drink some water. You can lead a dog to water, but you can't make him drink. Do, 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 do. So, yeah. I don't know how people do chats all by themselves. I already don't have anything to say. There we go. So, actually, I have a question for the chat, the two of you out there. Do you guys listen to Gun Talk Radio? And if so, what is your opinion of the show and of Tom Gresham? Something like yeah, Tom Gresham. Because I was talking about that with some people the other day, and the people I were talking to was basically like, "Oh, well, I just kind of wrote him off, right? Because most of Gun Talk Radio is the newest doodad, and oh, we got the CEO of Remington on the line. He's going to tell us about how come his guns are the best ever, blah blah blah, whatever." But I'm actually pretty impressed that although yes, it's a lot of that. I'd say maybe like 80% of the show is your normal like gun show, not necessarily Second Amendment show, which I think is fine. Like obviously this is things we enjoy. I like talking about guns with people who know more than me, and they can teach me stuff. But the other 20% is actually pretty good Second Amendment related stuff. And I mean, I'm pretty sure he's a pretty big radio show. I guess I don't know what stage I listen to the podcast version of it. I don't listen to stuff on the radio. But I think he's in like a bunch of different states. He has callers and they call in and whatever, ask questions about stuff. But he's a big Second Amendment dude, definitely. You can just tell the way he talked. I know he had Jeff Knox on a few times. And obviously, Jeff's friggin' all-star in the Second Amendment arena. His dad did a bunch, Neil Knox. But anyways, he's very anti Wayne LaPierre. And so he's covering stuff about the NRA and the board meetings and trying to get rid of LaPierre. He interviewed that West guy before the convention who was going to ask for, I don't know, was like a vote of non-confidence or something. Basically, he wanted to bring up like a vote to kick out Wayne LaPierre. And I mean, it didn't go anywhere this year. But the fact that more and more people are talking about it, like you didn't hear anyone talk about getting rid of LaPierre a couple of years ago. At least I didn't. And then maybe like 2-3 years ago, people were really starting to be like, dude, this guy is just leeching us dry and he's a scumbag and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't like LaPierre. I want to get rid of him. The problem is the way their boards is set up. They can, the way the NRA board is set up, if you speak out, there's enough people that are, I don't know what you'd call it, but like in the inner circle or like, they're LaPierre's friends or whatever. And then they all just team up and they kick you out. So it's like you're really only going to get change is if a bunch of people all at once step up and say, hey, we want to get rid of LaPierre and his whatever 10, 12 people that he surrounds himself with. Like, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how many of them are actually like bad in the way that they're like actively supporting LaPierre or actively being shady as much as I think a lot of them have just seen so many people get kicked out basically for going against the grain. And I mean, you could call it like cowardly or whatever, I guess, in a way, but they're just not that they agree with what he's doing, but they don't want to speak out. But those types of people, like I said, it would be better if everyone just said what they actually meant and we just kicked them out. But I can understand that from like a real life point of view. Like if you're doing good on the board and you have other stuff going on and like you want whatever, maybe there's some dude who invented like the perfect hunter safety class thing and it's in the NRA and he's super proud about how many kids he's teaching how to be safe and da 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 whatever. And he's comparing, do I want to lose like everything I've worked on when they kick me out just to get rid of this guy, or do I just pretend like just keep my mouth shut and just keep doing what I'm doing because that's what I want to do and that's helping a lot of people. So I can understand that from a human point of view. Sometimes you make a sacrifice on maybe even your own ideals in order to get something else done. Like I said, I don't think that's the best, but I can at least understand it. The thing with that is how many of those are actually on the board because those types of people, if you get whatever, like 10 or 12 people that are super anti Lapierre and they look like they're going to win, then those people that were staying quiet because they didn't want to get kicked out are now going to speak up because they don't want to get kicked out. And so it's kind of almost even like our political party with like the third party. Lots of people don't want to vote for a third party candidate because you've all heard it. Oh, if you vote for a libertarian, you're helping Trump win or you're helping Hillary win. I've literally heard both of those be told to me when I was voting in a state that 100% was already decided. Like it is not a swing state by any imagination. So the way I look at it is like, no matter who I vote for, the winner's already going to be this person. I might as well vote for somebody I actually like. So I'm going to vote for the libertarian candidate because, like I said, it's not like I'm helping Hillary win. I'm not helping Trump win. Like, anyways, going back to that, like that's that spoiler effect where people are scared to vote third party, and yet if you like were completely isolated and you just been like, okay, like vote for who you actually want to win in we'll call it like a fake election. Like we promise this won't affect the election at all. You're allowed to vote for whoever you like, and this is just like a poll. And I bet you they would get a lot more people go like, well, yeah, I'd prefer this libertarian person, but because I hate the Democrats so much, I'm voting Republican. And on the other side too, yeah, I prefer the libertarian as well, but Donald Trump is evil, so I'm definitely voting Democrat. Like whatever the case may be, what if you told everyone it was a fake poll and everyone voted and they're like, no, just kidding, that actually is the real thing. Oh, and libertarians got 40% of the vote. Like, I think that's not. I don't think that's unreasonable because just talking with people in my real life, like most people have a tendency towards leave me the fuck alone. Most people like that idea. The government's too big, they control too much stuff. And again, on both sides for different reasons. But like Republicans hate the government telling them whatever, what to do with their money and their taxes. And, they're not allowed to homeschool their kids or whatever the hell they care about. And Democrats hate that the government tells them, well, you can't do drugs and you have to do this, that, or the other. Whereas libertarians are like, hey, government, leave us alone. We're going to do whatever we want. So you can have like a gay hippie couple growing weed in their backyard next to a Mormon couple that has 37 kids that are all homeschooled. Like that's both allowed. Knock yourselves out. Like we don't care. Don't hurt each other. But other than that, like I don't care what you do. What's going on, Vanessa? So, anyways, I think that'd be kind of an interesting way to see what people actually like, and I think the voting would be really different if you told them like we're just curious, like who's your favorite, and not, an anti-vote for the other side. Because I think a lot of people do that. Like there are some that yes are definitely right, and some that are definitely left, and they're going to vote with their party, like no matter what. And then all the other people vote against the other one. Like there are tons of Republicans that aren't pro-Republican; they're anti-Democrat. And the same thing, there are tons of Democrats that don't necessarily like the Democrats; they just hate the Republicans. Like it doesn't make sense to me. If you had that third party, I think you get people in from both sides, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with the next election. Maybe they can get a few more votes. I mean, I know it would be nice if they got enough that they could actually be on the debate stage, but that's the one thing that Democrats and Republicans work together towards is making sure that they don't get a third party being on the main debate and being able to say like spread their ideas basically. Because obviously I'm biased because I believe in most of their principles. Um, but that being said, I think most people like it's philosophically their their thinking just like is consistent. Like I said, they just don't want the government messing with people on any issue, and I think that's the most yeah, it's the most consistent. And I remember there's it's like a joke meme or whatever the heck, but like it goes, oh, Republicans care about freedom except for your freedom to marry who you want, your freedom to do whatever you want to your own body, and blah blah blah, a couple other things. And Democrats believe in liberty, except for the liberty to own a gun, the liberty to keep the money you make, and a couple other ones, whatever. And then at the bottom, it's like libertarians believe in freedom and liberty, right? Like we like both. But that's why I'm like, I don't understand how you can say like, my body, my choice, right? As soon as the craziness happened a couple of years back, that became a Republican talking point, talking about getting the jab. And I agree with that, like my body, my choice. But that used to be the Democrat talking point, my body, my choice. So it's like obviously you only mean that if you're talking about the topic that you like to put it towards. And as soon as someone else is like, hey, that's a good point. Like I agree with you on that. But about this topic, they go, oh no, 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 you're not allowed to have that. Second Amendment, but like, oh yeah, I agree in self defense, except blah 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 blah. And it's like, no, I agree with it on both sides. Like you have the right to defend yourself. That's the point of the Second Amendment. What's going on, DJ? Yeah, I mean it has been a long time. I dropped the link down there if you want to jump in. But anyways, yeah, and that's I think they were. I mean, I don't know. I'm not as much of a political person as I am like a 2A history type person. Like I understand the politics behind the Second Amendment, but not as much like in general. But like I don't know when there was a third party. Maybe are we talking like back in the day with when like the Republicans became a thing and weren't they split off from like the Bull Moose or something? Like I don't know. I don't remember the old. I know there was like Whigs and then wasn't it? Didn't it start? There was the Republican Democrats or something like that. Was the party? It was like a Republic Democrat or something like that. It was named something like that. And then there was like against the other one, and then that one split off, and it became like the Democrats and the Republicans at some point. I think like around the Civil War. I know Lincoln was a Republican, and he was like on the one side, and then the other side was like all of the slave owners and the racists and the like bad guys, I'll call them. And so the Republicans were like the good guys, and then like there was that whole thing where like it switched over when the South used to be like super blue and then it turned red and whatever. Like I said, I'm not super good on the history. Point being is third party, even back then, like it wasn't really a chance. It was still one or the other. And I bet you even back then, some people were voting for, I don't know, I don't think libertarian was around back then, but like they voted for a third party back then. And people said, oh my God, a vote for them is a vote for the slave owners, you horrible person. Or a vote for them is a vote to steal my property, which back then they were talking about people. So yeah, I'm going to steal people from you if you think they're your property, you fucking asshole. Like that's the one time I'm okay with the government coming and stealing your property because it's not yours to have. Um, but anyway, so it's going way back in time. So after that, I don't think Republican or the Libertarians popped up in the 19 somethings. I think like they're not super old, and they've never really had a big foothold as far as like actually winning and getting votes. But that's because everyone's scared of the spoiler effect. Oh, if I vote for them, then the other people are going to win by a landslide, which is where I think ranked voting is something to at least look into. And I know there's a few different ways to do it. Sorry, just reading up on the DJ's post here. Yeah, you're right. Logic isn't there, emotion is. Yep. Well, I mean, I'm I have emotions. I'm a human, I'm not a robot. But I think that I want to be as consistently and like logically consistent and like rational as I can be. Like that's I think stuff should make sense. If you go like whatever, like green is good, let's say, okay, the color green is good. Well, then consistently or logically, if someone offers me a red car or a green car, I should buy the green car because I already said green was good. But if I'm like now saying, well, green's only good for a house, it's not good for a car. Well, then you can't say objectively the color green is the perfect color because if it was, then you would have a greenhouse and a green car and green shoes and whatever. And like that's what they do. They're like, yeah, freedom, your choice. The state can't tell you what to do about topics 1, 2, and 3, but they can tell you what to do about topics 4, 5, and 6. And then the other side just reverses it. And I just go, no, all 6 topics, you state can't tell you what to do. Or all 6 topics, the state can tell you what to do. At least that would be logically consistent. I would disagree with it. That would be like just straight up authoritarian, whatever, fascist, like actual fascist, not I don't like you because you're wearing a red hat fascist, but you know what I mean? Like that's actually the definition where it's like the government can tell you who to hang out with, where to hang out, what to do for a living, how much money you make. Well, like at least I do not agree with any of that, but at least like that hypothetical person would be consistent. They would logically be like, okay, you think the government is perfect and is God and should do everything. So at least now I can see from your point of view why you agree with all of these things that you want to do. And then obviously I'll disagree with all of them, but I, I don't know. There's something about like being honest when you're having a rational discussion and actually really understanding where the other side is coming from. It doesn't mean you agree with them to say, I see where you're coming from. And even with anti-gunners, like I can see where they're coming from sometimes. It doesn't mean I agree with them. What's going on, Bernie? So, guys, the link's out there if you want to pop in. Maybe I'll post it one more time. Jump on in and talk if you want, if you can. I know it's the middle of the day. Probably people are at work, sitting in offices, or doing whatever the heck you're doing, and that's fine. But jump on in if you want. Otherwise, I'm going to keep rambling on about third parties and stuff. Well, I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you guys can hear. Well, you probably definitely heard my dog barking there, but he was whining before that. What are you whining about? Do you like the third party? Are you a libertarian? No? Do you like Bernie Sanders? Do I have to kick you out of the house for liking Bernie Sanders? What's that, Ziggy? You voted for Hillary? Get out. All right, looks like we're going back outside. They've cooled off enough. They got themselves some water. They cooled off. Time to go back outside. Take my last sip of my Mountain Dew that I opened up 3 hours ago. Rock on, just listening. Cool, cool. And yes, open dialogue works when both sides listen. I definitely agree with that. Like I said, I've been told I'm a argumentative person, but I don't think that's necessarily the right word because I don't think of it that way. Like, I don't think of myself as arguing with people as much as like I like debating people. I like disagreeing with people. And sometimes I like playing devil's advocate. So I may talk to someone about a topic and we actually both basically agree on the topic, but I'll jump to the other side that I don't believe myself. But again, understanding where the other side is coming from, I think is a valuable tool. If you're trying to be like persuasive, if you're trying like if that's your goal is to have conversations that change people's minds, you can't just yell "shall not be infringed" and run away. That doesn't help anybody. That doesn't work. And so being able to understand the different tactics of how to talk to people. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it by any means, but I'd like to think I'm decent at it. Like I've talked with people from all different sides on Second Amendment stuff. And so yeah, sometimes it's good to just go, okay, like what's your point of view, and let them explain it to you, and then you can counter that. So all right, now you guys can see the dogs. Well, the other one's like back behind that tree. I don't want to zoom in on him. I don't know what he's doing. It might not be YouTube friendly, but this guy's just playing with his toy, so that's fine. Oh, yeah, he's happy now. He's happy now. Okay. So, anyways, the ranking system. I think that's I think that would be a decent way to see if a third party is viable, is to have some kind of like ranked voting where you pick your first choice and they get like 2 points or whatever, and then you pick your second choice and they get 1 point, and then at the end of the thing you add them all up, and then whoever it is like wins. I think that's one way of doing it. It's like I said, given like different points when you rank it. The other way of doing some kind of ranked, you still same thing. You list like the person you really want, and if they don't win, the person you'll like settle for. And so what happens there is like add it all up, and if no one like wins the first time, like if no one has 50% like number one choice, then it like the person gets, I don't know, like eliminated or whatever, and then like who's ever on the lowest, like they get eliminated, and so everyone who had that person as their number one, it goes to their second choice, and then you give all the points out to like those people, and if no one reaches 50% with that, they knock off another person off the bottom, and they keep doing that until someone reaches like over 50%. And I want to say France does that, and they have like 7 or 8 political parties. That's why like the ranking really makes sense, because there might be people that only like 3 or 4 parties. Like maybe there's one party that matches every single ideal like perfectly, and there's another party that matches like half of what they agree with, like all the important ones. And then there's a third party that like matches just a couple, but at least like they're not evil. And so, yeah, if you have 7 or 8 choices, obviously no one's going to really match you 100%. But you can have, yes, I like this person, And then this other one, yeah, this person's okay. And then another one is like, well, I mean, this person's not horrible. Like I said, I think there's probably like three or four. Like, yeah, there's like three or four that like I'm not gonna cry about if they win. And so you rank them and you put those in there, and it's just a race to whoever gets the full like what do they call that? Like race to the post or something. But that's how they do it. They add them all up, and if no one reached the threshold yet, you knock off the lowest one, and then give all the points to like the next people. And like I was saying earlier, I honestly think if you ask most people, their number one would be libertarian, and then they would settle on their number two of you know anti-democrat or anti-republican. So like who they actually want, but they think he's not going to win, so they don't even bother writing it down. And then they always go to their second choice of who's less evil from their point of view. But if you did the ranking system, then the libertarians would just like you do the first round, they'd have 70% of the vote, and everyone goes home. Okay, you reached it. But that's a way of convincing people to vote for them first, because you can say, well, listen, yeah, obviously the third party's never going to win. Okay, fine, whatever. But if they don't, then don't worry, your backup will still win. Like you can still vote against the other one, and I think that'd be really cool. I don't know if that's ever going to change because obviously the people in power would be the ones that would change it, and they keep winning, like between the two of them. So it makes it hard to the person who's winning tends to not want to change the rules to help someone else who's not winning. Yeah, that's good to hear, Bernie, that personally you're not voting the lesser of two evils anymore. I fully agree with you on that. The only time I think that it can make sense, although I have not done it. I have always voted for the person I wanted to win, and I do that like at the local level as well. I look up my local people. I think a lot of people don't. They look up what letters next to their name, but we have a pretty good local newspaper where I'm from that will do, and I think most places do something like this, whether it's like actually like state provided, which I was surprised out here in California. It's like a state provided like a whole booklet. I posted it on Instagram a couple of years back when the first time I got one, and I was blown away because in Michigan I had never seen something like that. There's a newspaper that does something like that, and they legitimately just go right down the middle and fact based only. Like there's really not spin, and they'll say this person like believes in gun control and believes in raising taxes on the top 1%, blah blah whatever, and like it's not a slam. That's what the person said, and then they go, and this other person believes in supporting the Second Amendment and lowering taxes, and all cars have to be green. And since we've established earlier, I love green cars apparently. Like then I've got to go with that guy. But anyway, so they would do that at the local level, and at least even if I just read something like that, it takes I don't know 20 minutes or something to kind of go through, and I give myself a little cheat sheet because I don't remember people's names very well. And yeah, and oh, you're getting comments, buddy. Everyone loves the puppy. But anyways, I think that kind of stuff can help. Dang, I actually was kind of good at talking to myself there. I guess I just have to find the right topic, and I will blabble on about nothing. Well, not nothing. It's actually important, but you know what I mean. I was hoping to steal some of them people from that other chat would want to come over and I could talk with new people, but I guess not. That's okay. I mean, I was waiting for the chat to. No, I don't want to say I was stealing the people. I was waiting for the other chat to end, and then I was just saying, hey, if you want to keep the conversation rolling, then come on over. Because again, they were talking a lot about like the handgun rosters and stuff like that. Oh, I guess over there on the East Coast, they actually do add guns to their roster. I guess they don't. They're supposed to update it like 4 times a year. He was saying. What chat just ended? That's DJ. I don't remember his name. What chat? Who was on G-Web's thing last night? And I missed it. Go look at it. Everyone do some homework out in the chat. Maybe you can help me because I do want to shout him out. He's a cool dude. I didn't know who he was until G-Webs talked to him last night. And that's when I listened to it this morning. I didn't catch it live. And he does a radio show, owns a gun shop, does a radio show. And then he calls in on like his version of the radio show. He has like a co-host or whatever. And he streams it on YouTube as well. And Cape Gun Works. Yep. Thank you, DJ. See, I told you I'm bad with names, so I have to give myself a cheat sheet when I go to vote because I don't remember who's who. But anyways, yeah, Cape Gun Works, does a radio show, owns a shop, and oh, Toby. Okay, cool. But yeah. Anyway, so it was cool. I like listening to that. It was kind of cool how like I said, he does the radio show, which it's on the YouTube. I kind of jumped in near the end of that, so I didn't hear much of it. It sounds like he doesn't interact too much with like the online audience during that, which makes sense because if you're listening to something on the radio and they keep saying, okay, and now over to got a question here from Diddly Dob Bop 642, like the radio person's gonna be like, who the hell's Diddly Dob Bop 642? Like, it's weird. But once the radio part was over, then like he kept his camera on and he started answering questions from the chat. And he was very interactive with the chat. Like that part was good. Like he was very responsive, which I know some internet chats are not as responsive. Oh, there you go. Saying I'm glad I found you guys also. Like I said, it was fun. So speaking of being responsive to chat, what's going on, Toby? What's going on, Krabby Turtle? I think I already said hi to Chris and stuff. Yeah, said hi to most people. But yeah. Anyway, so whatever you guys want to talk about, I think I'm done with my third-party rant. That's about all I can say. See what's Bernie saying? Sorry, the sun on my phone screen is making it hard to read. Let me get over in the shade. Something made me unsubscribe from my channel as a person I used to look up to. Was ranting about how the price of gas was messed up. Yeah. As soon as I made a comment, he told me not to get political. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing though, Bernie, like I can kind of understand that. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, you're not saying who, and that's fine, whatever. But like, depending on how they want to like run their thing, they might really just like they're just going to avoid anything political, like as a third rail kind of thing. And especially if like they were like, oh, gas is really expensive, and I don't know what you said, but let's say you go, yeah, because of stupid Biden and the blah blah blah, and go on like some big old thing, and then just be like, yeah, I don't really want to like talk about that. Like that's not what my channel's for. Now, I don't get super political just for lack of knowledge. The only political stuff I go with is Second Amendment stuff because that's what I care about. And even then, if stuff starts getting too much, rah rah Republican, boo boo Democrats, I don't believe in that. I really don't. I think there are people on both sides that are good and people on both sides that are bad. Now, generally speaking, it goes one way. Republicans are better for freedoms than Democrats are. But I would vote for a Democrat if he was super pro gun over like a rhino type dude who's like, oh yeah, guns are cool, but red flag laws are nice or whatever. I don't think so. Like that's I'm going to draw the line in the sand there. And I've said it before. I know you guys have heard me say it a million times, but I am definitely looking forward to a time where I can pick between a pro gun Democrat and a pro gun Republican and preferably a pro gun libertarian and like make it not even be an issue, right? Like there's tons of stuff in the world that it, neither side even takes a topic on because it's like, I don't know, it's so, what would be the word? Like it's just understood like, well, yeah, obviously. Like, have you ever heard the Republicans or the Democrats take a side on like the right of women to drive? No, because they're both pro. Like that's you don't need to have a what do they call those planks or something like a party plank or platform. What's it when the people say like these are the 10 things we believe in? I guess that's the party platform, and each thing is a pillar, a party pillar. I don't know, whatever. Like no one needs a party pillar of the right for women to drive because both sides believe in it, and maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't. I don't know. Is Vanessa still out there? I'm just teasing. Getting controversial here, but like it's just so obvious, so you don't need to say it. Well, wouldn't that be great if people were like, well, yeah, I mean, obviously, Second Amendment means shall not be infringed, so let's start arguing about gas prices or whatever that the other stuff. They have disagreements about a lot of different things and what the government can and can't do, and so as long as they both agreed, and dude, even I'm falling into this double standard, right? As long as they both, I should say, as long as all of the parties running are pro gun, because I do still think a third party has a chance, and I would love to see the libertarians get a bigger constituency. And you need to get away from the they're always going to lose, so who cares? You need to get away from that mindset. Because the way I look at it is, I voted for the person I wanted to win, not against the person I didn't want to win. And again, if you're not in a swing state because of the way our system is, it's not really going to matter anyways. So, like, if you live in New York, you voting Republican isn't going to change anything because Democrats are going to win no matter what. So you might as well vote third party because that sends a message to both parties of going, this is the way I look at it. Okay, back on my soapbox here, which also link in the chat if you guys want to jump in. Hell, tell me why I'm wrong. I'm cool with that too. Jump on in. Anyways, but so getting back up on my soapbox, the way I would look at it if I was a political dude, like I'm running the Republican Party, I'm going to say, oh crap, dude, the Libertarians got 10% of the vote this time. Like we still won Texas, right? Like the same thing. Texas ain't going to change. Maybe if Austin gets bigger, it might. But for now, like Texas is going to be red, California is going to be blue. So if you live in either of those two states, it doesn't really matter as a single person. So go ahead, vote third party. They're going to look at that 10% and go, we still won, but this is getting scary. What if it goes to 12% next time and we just barely lose? I want to get some of that 10%. So let's ask them, why did you not vote for us? Why did you vote for libertarians? And if they say, because they're actually pro Second Amendment, they don't just say they are and then go for red flag laws and get rid of bump stocks and ban imports and blah, 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 all the other crap that we know they do. Sorry, I got a text message in. I'll respond to that in a minute. So, like, they would look at that and go, oh, we need to be more like libertarians in order to bring them back into our group. And the Democrats will do the same thing. Dang, man, in California, yeah, we won. Obviously, we won. But we lost 10% to these stupid libertarians. I thought they liked us. We want to get rid of drug laws and we want to get rid of policing and like whatever. And they ask them, hey, man, how come you didn't vote for me? I thought you were a bunch of liberal hippies like us. And we could say, well, we are liberal hippies who want to own guns. And they go, oh, so we should stop trying to ban those things, huh? And then you'd vote for us. And I'd go, yeah, maybe. Maybe not, but maybe. So that's kind of the way I look at it is even if the third party doesn't win, you can affect the policy. You can change the platform where they will start to say, well, if we want to get these other groups in, because obviously they want to keep winning, they don't just want to lose. So if you want that 10%, well, if you agree with me a little bit more, I'll consider voting for your party instead of voting third party. Now, you're gonna have to agree with me pretty damn much for me personally, because I'm a Taurus. I'm stubborn. I'm always right. I know everything, obviously. So you're basically gonna have to believe exactly what I want to believe if I'm gonna vote for you. So I doubt I'll ever vote for a Republican or a Democrat. Like I said, local level, I do, because they're probably, there might not even be libertarian candidates for Secretary of State or whatever the heck. Like, I don't know. So for something like that, I tend to vote for one or the other. And that's where, like I said, looking up on the local level, like back in Michigan and that newspaper that was really good, or out here in California, that little booklet they send out. Dude, I read that thing cover to cover, because especially all the proposals and stuff, I really like that. And I'm really surprised. I posted this on Instagram as a mind blowing thing. Hey guys, guess what just showed up at my front door? A book that breaks down every single candidate and what they said in their own words. And then on the proposal things, like Proposal J, they had a full like paragraph or couple paragraphs of the people that support the proposal and why they support it, and the people who are against the proposal and why they're against it. And then they had a response from like the antis to what the pros said, and a response to the pros what the antis said. Like, it literally was like a nice little debate on a 2-page thing. So the left page was, this is why I support the thing, and then this is my response to the people who don't support it. And on the right side of the page was, this is why I don't support the thing. And then another section, this is a response to the people who support it, what they said. And I use as an example, there was something about housing, something I don't even remember what it was, a tax credit for subsidized housing or something, blah blah blah, whatever. The point being is, in the response to the people against it, so the people who were pro, they said their thing, like, I'm pro this because it gets rid of homeless people and that's good and gives money and blah, blah, blah. Everyone's happy. Okay, whatever. But then their response to the anti is like, the people who are against this are pro Second Amendment and want everyone to own guns. But like, well, to me, I'm just going, I don't really care about tax credits for housing development, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't understand it enough to even have a say. But the fact that the people that are for the proposal are mad at the other people for liking guns, I guess I'm probably against it, because those people who never in their thing said anything about, and therefore guns are shall not be infringed, like, they never brought it up. The pro people in their responses brought up, oh, by the way, my opponents are crazy gun owners or whatever. I go, oh, well, then I like your opponents. Like, I guess I'm voting against it because I don't know what it means, and that's how I'm going to vote. So it was just really funny to see some random thing. But anyway, the point being, I distract myself a lot, is that I posted that on Instagram as being a mind-blowing experience of how good this thing was. And yeah, was some of it like slanted towards like pro-government and stuff? I guess some of it was, but the proposal was, they gave a chance to both sides. And you read both sides and go, okay, whatever. And same thing with the candidates, like board of directors and not directors, but like city council, or like, they gave every single one of them a chance to speak. Most of them all said the exact same thing. So then how do you really tell? But at least like it gave them a chance to. I posted up, dude, I'm mind blown. Everyone else is like, oh yeah, we get those. Oh yeah, I know, I throw those things out. Oh, what's the big deal? Yeah. I was just like, really? I'm blown away at like the information being provided to people. And then all these other people, like, my friends, like people that follow me on Instagram, I'm going like, oh, we've been getting those things for years. I glanced through it a couple times, or like, I already know the candidates, but some of the proposals I'll read both sides to figure out how I feel about that. But it was really weird, because I was like, this is mind blowing to me and everyone. It's like I discovered milk for the first time and ran around the world yelling, do you guys know you can drink this stuff that comes out of cows and it tastes good? It's got calcium. And of course, everyone's like, yeah, dude, we know that. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm running around like I just invented like the coolest thing in the world, or found, I should say, because I obviously didn't write the thing, I didn't invent it, but I found it and was like, I need to share this with everyone because it's so cool. And then apparently, like, everyone's like, yeah, we get those. So, all right, now let me go back and catch up on some of these comments. I see someone saying hi to Makojo. I don't see Makojo. Oh, da, da, da. But anyways, hi Makojo. I guess if you're still out there. Okay, I saw that part. Da, da, da. Subscribe to his channel. Yep, talking about Toby. Da, da, da. Chris. Da, da, da. It's on radio stations. Yeah, I guess I got to that part. Okay. Guns are good. Okay, I will agree with that, Krabby Turtle. My way of thinking is if you're bitching about the price of fuel and blaming the war. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. But going back to that dude who got mad about you being political. I mean, whatever. Like I said, and that's fine. You can be like, "Oh, I'm not subscribing to this dude. If he doesn't want me around, I'm not going to subscribe." It doesn't make sense. Maryland's Cali East. Yep. Change happens. Look at a new congresswoman in South Texas. Moved her district for Republican after 100 years. Well, that's cool. Oh, Krabby Turtle equals Makojo? Damn, dude. I didn't know that. You could have, dude, man, you could have pranked me. You could have like been like, oh yeah, he's in incognito mode and blah blah blah. Like pretended you didn't know what I was talking about. And I know I'd seen Krabby Turtle before, so I was like, I forget whose chat I saw it on, but I'm like, oh, okay, that dude seems nice. But now I know who you are. Cool. All right, Mr. Krabby Turtle Joe. Yeah, or McCrabby Turtle Joe. That's a good one. Okay, so I need to respond to this text message, but I think it's going to kick me on a StreamYard. But if I do it fast, I know I can load it back in, and then I can like keep talking with you guys. And if it does completely crash, I'll like start up a new one. So then everyone hang out and like come back. But I'm going to just try and do this real fast. And especially since I don't have any guests in here, you guys are just going to have to kind of wait me out. So hold for station identification break. Okay, I think I'm back now. I think so. Oh, Toby, add to stream. What's going on, man?
I think so. Oh, Toby, add to stream. If you want to talk to me.
Yeah, I want to talk to you.
If you want to talk to me.
Although you might want to mute like the video or whatever in the background so we don't get double trouble.
Better.
There we go. Yep, perfect. I mean, I love the sound of my own voice, but I don't know if everyone else wants to hear me twice.
I hear that. So, where are you located?
As of right now, I'm out behind enemy lines in California.
I know the feeling. It's
That's why when you guys were talking about the rosters, I'm like, you guys actually add stuff? Like, I felt like, oh, what's that movie? Or it's like a comedy where the kid and the family go down to Mexico to get drugs or whatever. But anyways, there's a scene where he's like, you guys are getting paid? Because they're all arguing about like who gets paid more. So I felt like that. You guys are adding to the roster? I've never heard of such a thing.
But you guys can still have like an AR variant of some sort, right?
As long as you don't have the removable magazine.
Right. But your removable mag, your like non-removable mag situation is a little better than our non-removable mag situation. Like the Franklin Armory one where the mag kind of, you open the action and you pull it up out of the top. We couldn't even have that. Like it has to be permanently mounted to the gun. So, but it's kind of funny to compare notes this way. Like, yeah, but at least you don't have this going on. You know, it's like who can out gun control the other state. But that seems to be the running joke amongst the people who make our laws in these states. Like, well, what's California doing? I don't know. When's the last time they passed an anti-gun bill? I don't know, but we're slacking. We need to one up them. And that seems to be the, you know, the methodology behind the scenes for all of the powers that be in California and Massachusetts. But there you
Oh,
have
well, I think that's why we got rid of the bullet button,
it.
because they decided, well, that's making it too easy, and sounds like you guys were even more so. So California's like, well, let's at least make them open up the action somehow. They'll never be able, like, I feel like they literally sit around and go, well, they'll never be able to figure out a way around this. Like, we'll just say it has to be part of the action. And people are like, cool, so I can just pop the takedown pin and then it slides right out. All right.
I know it is ridiculous, but hopefully one of these lawsuits makes it far enough to make all that nastiness go away. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I mean, I'm definitely like a follower of all of the legal stuff. That's I kind of nerd out a lot of times on like new bills and lawsuits and stuff like that. So I'm waiting with holding my breath on the Supreme Court. I know they have a couple of good cases, the carry one, and then an assault weapons ban and a magazine limit that could all tumble all at once, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. That's I've like checked it at lunchtime before I went on that Grace Curley show and was hoping for some good news, but uh, it's interesting how they're waiting for all these like crazy decisions to drop at the same time, like between the gun stuff and the, you know, Roe v. Wade stuff. Like I feel like they're painting themselves into the corner so that all that's left are the highly controversial, you know, Moab that they're about to drop and all at once. So I think it'll just I'd rather them meter it out a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm no strategist. I'm just a dumb gun salesman. But on the other hand, uh, it's going to be an interesting next couple of months.
Yeah, I think possibly that's a strategy to maybe hide some of the bad decisions because they know like most people are going to be really pissed off about this thing. So then the other stuff that they're going to be mad about will pass at the same time, and then like no one will notice it.
Right. That could be. It could be a strategy to hope something slips through the radar, but I doubt it.
I mean, actually, let me ask you this: can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I use wireless earbuds, and I only use one at a time. So my left one was dying. I had to put the right one in, and sometimes StreamYard doesn't like when you disconnect Bluetooth things. So, anyways, yeah, I hope maybe what they're doing is trying to hide pro-gun decisions, which I'm okay with that. If you want to try and like not get too much blowback from the other side, as long as you're agreeing with what I like, then do whatever you want.
Right.
But it's normally the other way, right? The anti-gunners, they do all their stuff on Christmas Eve or the day before SHOT Show. They do the pistol brace thing and all that kind of stuff. The tricks the ATF does.
All right, cool. I just wanted to jump on and say hello to everyone and say, we'll try to do this again. I actually have to, I just been paged. I got to jump on a call, but I appreciate you continuing the chat and continuing the conversation. And hopefully we'll see you around on the show and, online. We'll do it again.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, I appreciate you jumping in, and I'm glad I found you through GWeb. So if you got a new subscriber, I'll be around.
Cool.
And you're welcome on. You're welcome over here anytime. I do these kind of randomly, not scheduled or anything. So if you ever see it, I drop the link. Jump on in.
All right.
You're always
Sounds good, man. All right. Thanks a lot and have a good one, guys. Take care.
right when GWebs jumped in, man. Sorry, I couldn't hit the button fast enough. I don't know if you wanted to at least say hi to Toby, but I tried.
Well, yeah, you're on a phone. You've been going for an hour now.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that. I guess I actually found something to talk about. You know how this normally goes. If I don't have anyone talking to me, I just ramble and then I get bored.
Well, I'm uploading and my internet's kind of crappy, but I figured I'd jump on since you guys were chatting or whatever. But I was just going to throw out there that, this is, or I was going to say, I didn't know what kind of time Toby had. If he was just hanging out, then I was going to throw out there to you guys, how would you make that concept of a scoreboard for 2A? So how we can keep track for that kind of thing when he's about to jump onto a radio show or on a radio show and somebody asks a question. How do we make a scoreboard so it's easy to find and be updated on whatever's happening out there? Know what all is happening, and then be easy to find because there's a lot of it.
Oh yeah, especially when you break down like state level stuff, which it's harder to keep track of if it's not your state. Hear about something in Idaho or whatever, like, oh, I never even heard of that thing.
Right, and for everybody to keep track of all of it's not useful or real. I mean, people can barely keep up with whatever. It's like in a state like y'all, where you were just comparing issues, that it wasn't even the scratch on the surface of it all. And you have to keep track of all that for your state plus. That's one of the ways they win, too, by making it so obnoxious and obtrusive that people they just give up. Too much to keep track of.
Yeah, well, and from their point of view, like any national level anti-gunner, it's easy for them to keep up because they just go, well, we hate guns, so we'll just do anything to get rid of guns. And so you can go to any state as an anti-gunner and know what you want to fight for, because you just be like, well, we're just going to get rid of stuff. And the pro Second Amendment people, they can't just jump in from one state to the other without figuring out, okay, where are we starting from and where do we need to go? Basically, what do we need to get rid of? But yeah, a scoreboard would definitely maybe have something that's got like each state and then a list of all like the like kind of major like common things that we're normally dealing with, and then just a little like check mark or something like, yep, they got this or they don't have this or whatever, and then link to whatever specific bill if it actually is a thing.
Yeah, like a chart at the top letting you know about the state, and then it's like status and the different characteristics of the state, or characteristics of 2A, I guess. If it's got constitutional carry, or if they got open carry, or if they got permits and all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff to put in that list. There's probably 64. Well, I mean, there's got to be 25 characteristics, and I'm being conservative without picking every single one. There's like 25 of them.
Yeah, because if you think you got the carry point of view, there's like 5 or 6 versions of carry it could be.
The way I try to break it down is buying, living with, and carrying. And that doesn't include building or some other stuff, right? So if you start thinking about buying one, right? Some states have a permit to buy. Some states have legal ages. They're changing that now.
That are different from federal, yeah.
Yeah, well, they changed theirs from the 21, and then permits to purchase, permits to own, registration, all of that has to do with purchasing, universal background checks, right? All this stuff. And then that's not even what you can buy. Like, what's the list of what you can buy? So where does that go? So that's probably under owning guns. So, what guns can you even own? Do you have to have a permit or a license or some sort of special permission to do it? Can you sell it? That kind of thing. And then carrying, where can you have that gun around? And that's, like I say, easily 24. I haven't really even had a chance to, every time I go in to work on stuff, spend some time on it, I'll find other things that, they only apply to 1 or 2 states, but they technically are another slot that you'd have in that chart or whatever for at least, if it's there for 1 state, it's got to be there for in the chart. So anyway, it gets to be physically, or whatever you call, like visually, you can't make it, you have to make it only show up for the stuff that's there, right? So that printing a bunch of extra nothing and wasting everybody's time. If a state's pretty decent, none of that stuff applies. But on the same time, there's, to some extent, if you don't have it there, somebody's not thinking about it, and they might assume, right? Oh, well, if I don't see it, it's automatically there, or if I don't see it, it's automatically not there. But what if they're wrong? So sometimes it's worth having the slot there for that characteristic, even if it doesn't apply, just so that you can verify they do not have constitutional carry, or they do not have open carry. You know what I mean? You don't want to assume stuff in that kind of a project, at least I would think. Anyway, so that gets to be a bunch of stuff. So then you could put maybe the most important stuff at the top, but then, I don't know, that part gets into the how do you display it, I guess, more than what do you include. But anyway, that's just like you say, the characteristics and stuff. Then there's of the states, but then there's the actual laws themselves, and some of them are House bills that go to Senate, and we never even had a chance to come up with how to apply that to every second matters the way it is now. But you got bills, and then you've got the progress of those bills. So they get created and thought about and presented, I guess. I don't know the right words or whatever, but they get presented, and then they go through some sort of committee usually, and then they come out of the committee and get argued about to the whole place, to the whole side of the Congress, the House or the Senate or whatever. And then once they get good to go on one side, they go to the other side, and then they put it in a committee, and then they fight about it at the whole thing. And usually that's somewhere in there is where it gets killed, going to the Senate, either going to the Senate, or once it's in the Senate, it gets killed. And that's kind of what it's for, is to kill crazy, whimsical, delusional, feel-good legislation that people want to come up with as a knee-jerk reaction to their politicians, getting them all distracted from whatever else they're doing, right? So how do you keep track of those things as they're progressing through? Because they don't necessarily keep their name. So, again, logistically, it gets to be just probably a procedure or something, but it's still like, how do you, as a person who's jumping into the site that doesn't know how you deal with it, how do you make it so that they can find it? I haven't found anything except for maybe Wikipedia, which even attempts to just offer information. Usually they're trying to offer information so that you use their letter, or offer information so that you join their whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely a big task. I do feel like with a group of people aggregating all that stuff, it is feasible. I mean, I'd be down for like a brainstorming session one time, at least get all the topics, like all the headers or whatever, and just kind of figure out what's what. Just kind of thinking back, like you said, like the way to display it, definitely you have each state, and then put the big kind of important ones that are valid, like in all places, like you said, the carry thing, and then you could even just be like, what type of carry, and then right underneath it say, shall issue or may issue or constitutional, open and concealed. Like you can make that just one thing, so that kind of cleans it up a little bit. And then assault weapons ban, yes or no, like registration, yes or no, private sales allowed, like that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but that's the problem. When you say that, then you have a drop down So if that's a thing, then there's a drop down. So if you're going to talk about all carry is just a drop down and you just add items to the list, hybrids and everything else becomes a separate item on the list. And then, well, I guess it's only a problem if you start thinking about the way people use a system or whatever, if they're, how they're, you know, what kind of information they're getting from it. But, well,
Yeah, no,
talking about display, I'm just dealing with, you know, thinking about how the display issues and how you would create a form of place so that people who are coming from different humans could log into it and still all use the same format or whatever. And then to do what you're talking about is possible, I guess. But I'm just trying to think of when you do it that way, the reason you do it, that when you do it that way, you get hidden menus is basically is the way to say it. I don't know I'm trying to think of a way to describe it, but you end up same kind of thing as before I was talking about before. When you don't display the options that are null, then people tend to forget that all those null options exist. And if the point is to make a bigger picture, the real picture of the whole thing, then, you know what I mean? Like seeing the empty bookshelves is an indication that there's a different indication than seeing full bookshelves, but only 2 books in it. You know what I mean? If there's 2 bookshelves and it looks like the bookshelves are full, you might think, oh, this is the whole picture. Like this is a one place with a full bookshelf. And then you go somewhere else and there's a
empty
massive
library.
bookshelves. Yeah. And anyway, so that's all I'm saying is I'm just being theoretical on different projects, thinking about issues that come up with different projects with that kind of thing. And I'm also thinking about how to get multiple people involved in creating it. So it has to be a drop down. Otherwise, if you just said fill in the blank, then one person's going to say open carry and the next person says, carrying while open or something. You're going to get a million variants, and then it's frustrating for anybody who's actually trying to. There's no consistency or the consistency being a pain in the ass.
I know how to do it on Excel where you only get 3 options. Like it can be yes, no, or maybe or whatever. But then not only are then you creating every single category, you now have to think up every single possible answer to that.
That's the real part. And then, okay, you build all that and it's good to go. And then tomorrow, Connecticut goes, now we're going to call it backwards, blah, 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 blah. And now you have to go in and build that whole thing again. Where if you build it a different way, it's a fill in the blank and it doesn't matter what Connecticut calls it today or tomorrow. You can just go in and change that fill in the blank as opposed to having to fill the drop down. And the drop down is typically in an admin area. Again, I'm getting into detail. It doesn't matter at all for what we're talking about. But
well, I mean that's fine. I'm all for brainstorming and thinking stuff out. This kind of goes back to my philosophy on some like kind of podcasts in general. Is sometimes people always stay at that 1,000-foot level, and they don't really dig into the details. I'll use an example. A lot of reloading chats, which I mean, I kind of know how to reload. I'm not super into it. I just crank out 9mm cheap. I'm not like going like super mad scientist on it. That's the stage I'm at now. I've listened to a lot of like reloading chats and be like, cool, I'm going to learn some stuff. And it seems like every week you get to very basic. Well, you gotta be careful and like make sure you look up the book and like, no, I want to hear somebody say, I use number 7, blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh, I can try that. Or on this particular press, there's a set screw on the back that's hard to get to. So here's how I modified an Allen wrench to get to the set screw. Like, it's not saying all of them do it, but like, they never dig into the nuts and bolts of it. It's always just, here's a general overview. And I think even Second Amendment, I can have a tendency to do that as well. It's like, yeah, okay, anti-gun bad, pro-gun good. Like, okay, great. And then that's fine. But what's the nuts and bolts? Like, how do you really dig in? So, it's, if you want to talk about or brainstorm like details of how to do a thing or how to build a website and stuff, our listeners can chime in or whatever, I'm down for it. That's right. What I was suggesting, doing a brainstorming session on just what the categories would be called. I think that'd be a perfect like Every Second Matters adventure, and get a bunch of people out there suggesting stuff. Not that you have to use every single thing someone suggests, but just, I don't know. That's just how my brain works. I brainstorm everything and then I cut out the crap. So like, let's get 100 categories and then bring it down to 50. and then maybe have a thing that says other, like one I can think of that's kind of a novelty now is requiring insurance to own a gun. I know San Jose just did it. I'm not sure of other cities, states, or whatever, but like that's super local and super novel. That's not a thing most places have. So to have that drop down for every single state, which no, yes in San Jose, no. Like that's maybe a bit much. But if you had kind of like miscellaneous weird shit, and then you could put 2 or 3 in that column. But all the normals like assault weapons ban, yes or no, background check for private sales, yes or no, like the big ones, I think we can check those off the list pretty easy. And then the bills, you're right, get complicated because it goes from House over, subcommittee, House, Senate, subcommittee, Senate, and then sometimes it jumps back because they like change some shit, and sometimes like they didn't change anything and it goes right up to like veto level.
Yeah, they usually die, but well, so that's the thing is they usually die. The way we did it before was in a software that had it was a software like an erector set or like a Lego set, and I could set it up with flat pieces or round pieces or square pieces, right, like Legos or whatever, and I set it up with like let's say square pieces to do the wiki, and the wiki was like a bill or a law or something that we were following that wasn't a state issue, right? So bills and laws mostly, and I forget all the other stuff, but there was a couple other things we ended up putting in what we called the wiki. But let's say that was made with the square Legos, and then the other parts like the state area was like the round Legos, like to make a column or whatever, and then made the map, or what was it, the organizations. That was the other thing. We focused on the organizations so that as organizations had events or successes or calls to action, right, we could tag off of the organizations themselves, because the organizations are a big chunk of our 2A, right? So then those are the 3 big, and then the other chunk of Every Second Matters the way it is now was a community, right? Like just basically we had a gun channels, but that got really expensive and tedious, and I couldn't keep that going. So that got really small and then died. So then the 3 chunks that are left from Every Second Matters are the organizations, like a big giant section of this website is all the organizations, displays in different ways, offers maps and contact information, and ideally would have been a place to tag all the different campaigns that they got working on or calls to actions and all that kind of stuff, all their successes and that kind of thing, news articles and blog posts that relate to them. But then we had the states, so just everything per state, period, per state. And that was ideally should have been like a blog with a thing. But what we had was sort of like a Wikipedia page. Not even, we had like a page on a forum. And then there was the wiki, and that was set up like a Wikipedia thing. So they were all Legos, but they were those different kind of Legos. So yeah, they worked together, but you know what I mean? Like they didn't work together. They snapped together in some ways, but that didn't make nothing. They just happened to all be in the same place. So you didn't have to log out and log back in as the user. You were still playing Legos. But if you were playing round ones or you were playing square ones or you were playing with the flat ones, you kind of played in that area because they kind of stacked, it was like they were made, the parts from the wiki didn't go into the state area because they were designed to be different parts of the website. They were sort of like just different parts of YouTube. You don't take a YouTube comment and expect it to show up, I don't know, in a YouTube community page. Like they're separate parts of YouTube. And that's how Every Second Matters is set up. It could be set up in a different way and with just pages and posts. And then that way you make topics and states and things like that, like common things, a page, and then pages list posts, right? Like posts are sorted by pages. So you'd have like a page called Arizona with a bunch of posts on it. And the posts would be all these different things we're talking about. And then in that format, that structure, which is a lot different, I don't know if it's simpler or not, it's just different. It's like playing Lincoln Logs instead of Legos. So it's not going to be exactly the same ever, but it's just, it's different. So in that format, you could potentially drag all the Arizona stuff and just display it, and all the whatever constitutional carry stuff and display it. But that's sort of a mess. It's sort of like Wikipedia. It's not a nice, at least from my experience, it's not a nice, it's for nerds. It's for like data researchers and stuff. Like they find info, but somebody who's just like, minding their business and trying to learn something, it's not a pleasant, fun website to navigate unless you spend a lot of time doing that end of it. And I've never built that. That's not my style, or that's not my thing.
Yeah, because if someone's maybe looking for a specific whatever, like they heard something about, oh, there might be a magazine limit in Texas. Like, I wonder what that's all about. But then have to dig through all of Texas to figure out, like, oh, it just died in subcommittee like 6 months ago and no one said anything about it. Like, it almost would be buried behind all the stuff.
Through everything, but have to learn your drawers. I mean, you can have stuff all clever, but that doesn't mean anybody's going to figure it out. So you either have to make it like, hey, welcome to our site. A little paperclip guy jumps up and says, hey, you want me to hold your hand and walk you around? You have to have a site like that, or just like Wikipedia. People that know Wikipedia know it because they figured it out the first time. They know how to find stuff. But really, when you get in there, you start to figure out, okay, there's drawers and then there's files. There's drawers and files. But sometimes the files aren't what you're looking for. But maybe if I look in another drawer, I'll find what I'm looking for. Like I'm looking for a list of the states that are good at doing something. And then you go, wait a minute, if I look for places that are good for something, now I'll find a list of states. The states didn't have it because I would have had to look through each state or something. But if I went to find, I don't know, it's that kind of thing. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, that does make sense. It's almost like, do you do it by like state, and then here are all the topics that like the state's good at or bad at, or do you do it by topic and list like all the states that are in that topic? Like assault weapons ban, and then here are all the states that have some version of assault weapons ban. Magazine limit, here's all the states. Versus, like you said, instead of having to go through every single state and see which ones have mag bans.
Well, I guess what I was trying to say is that no matter what data is in there, if the people that built it know where it's at, and the people that use it all the time end up knowing where it's at, no matter how it's navigatable or whatever that word is, like interface. But if you want to build it for people who don't know nothing and are showing up and just like, I need to learn your website, then you just have to start making decisions. Are they here to learn about laws? Or are they here to learn about states? Or are they here to learn about what they saw in the news? Are they here because they got, So you got to start to, it just turns into a different thing than just what I'm used to is just getting data up there. And that's the part where I don't even know what people are looking for or want to be part of or whatever either. So I'm thinking of it more for people that know what's going on and they're just looking for a resource as opposed to, oh yeah, I heard about guns on the news and I don't even own a gun, but I want to know more about it. I'm not at that level. I think somebody else can take that task. But anyway, So that's where I was thinking is how to build something that gets, mainly I'm looking at is how to build something that the people who are helping, the people that are making it, understand it, and the people that are using it understand it. Because like I say, no matter what, some people are going to go, I don't get it. And other people are going to go, this is way too easy. We need to make it more difficult than this, right? Like there's always going to be those two extremes. So you're always making it somewhere in the middle. So, you got to start somewhere. And then the main thing is to do it, the big question is to do it that way with those three pieces, or to do it with some other key layout, I guess that's the word, like design, like superstructure. Because the first thing you build is the basic layout. Is it going to look like a circle or a square or a triangle? And then start making the rooms inside, like what's the building going to look like? Now we'll start building the rooms. And then you figure out, oh, okay, there's not enough room in here. I need to make it bigger, or maybe it won't work in this shape. So that's what I'm trying to think of. If right now we have it with the organizations, with the states, and with the wiki or whatever we're calling like that angle. And I only built it that way because that's the software that was available at Every Second Matters. The software I had available to me. So I was using what I had and then trying to make it fit. It's not like I sat down and went, what would be the best for 2A? Chopping it up into these three pieces. Does that make sense?
Right. It's kind of like you're using the back of the screwdriver to hammer the nail in because you didn't have a hammer at the time. But now if you're like, if you can think about what you're trying to build, maybe you need a screwdriver and a hammer because whatever you're putting together has nails and screws.
Or maybe
So
like 2 staples would do it, and then we don't even need any tools or something. You know what I mean? Or maybe 2 thumbtacks would do the trick. So that's the thing. Is
Right.
how do we build it so that the scoreboard concept where people can go, I need something at the tip of my fingers. I need to be able to get the info and get out, know that it's good because the people that are building it are paying attention, and then everything on there is referenced. That's the main thing. It'll be, here's the info and here's where we got it. Here's the info and here's where we got it. Here's the info and here's where we got it. And then hopefully the display offers it in such a way that people can go, what info is available, or what's the current situation? What's the current status? Because that's the other thing, is there's a bunch of people that are like, what's up with this? Well, I don't know. Like, I don't know. How the hell does anybody know what the status of anything is until somebody who's out there running around trying to worry about telling us the status of everything tells us? How do we know? None of the organizations are like, here's where everything's at. Here's all the, what do you call that? Is it a scoreboard? What else is it? There's got to be another name for that. Here's the current standings or something.
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm just thinking of like the progress or whatever. I'm almost thinking of like a little, like you take the how a bill becomes law, that old schoolhouse rock thing, but you make it like a little racetrack, and then you bump the bill along of like, oh, it's out of committee, oh, it's out of here, like it's bumped its way towards the finish line, and then the veto hammer comes down at the last second, like you almost have like a tracker, right, like a freaking package tracker. Oh, it left here, it's on its way there.
No, that's
Only
the way to say
difference
it. I keep
is it
saying
got taken.
I think a tracker is the way to say it. That's the way to say it. Just having a tracker. And then that's easy because then you give it, this is a bill, and a bill means it's going to have this and this and this and this. And then you just tell it which stage you're at, and then it displays that image probably. And then, yeah, that would be great. And that's probably the way to think of it, as a tracker, because everybody's used to tracking their packages at this point. And who cares what? Right. Nobody cares how many post offices are in between. They just want to know when it's estimated to be here and if it's not here or not. And then they want their insurance money if it didn't get here.
Right. The tricky part of that,
the politicians, if they suggest a stupid ass bill and then it goes through and doesn't go through because it's ridiculous, then they should owe us money because they wasted all our time. Just like tracking a package. If it gets lost, then guess what? You owe us money because we had insurance on it.
Well, yeah, no, that's a really good point. On both directions, really, because there's a lot of like pro Second Amendment stuff that, like, someone introduces every year to repeal the NFA or whatever, and it sits in subcommittee forever and it dies. And it'd be nice to be able to like knock on those guys' doors and say, hey, how come you let this thing, die out of session every single time? Like, we voted for you. How about you don't do that next time? Like, put it up on the floor. Like, do something about it. And then just to kind of comment back on just the whole tracker thing is, you're right. Like, that's what people care about is it here yet, or when is it going to get here? The problem being is those things, like, you never know. Like, it could go for a vote tomorrow, and sometimes it gets through the whole process in a week, and other times it takes 6 months. It just depends on the political climate, which is way above my pay grade. I don't understand how they do that kind of stuff. But at least if we get a heads up, like the most recent ones, the anti ones that they tried to jam through real quick, like, we knew pretty fast, and people were reporting out, hey, they're going to vote on this like on Tuesday, and it's going to the floor on Wednesday, and it's going over to the Senate on Thursday. Like, they're doing it. Boom, 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 boom. So you need to act now, because they're not just going to let this one sit around for weeks. They want it before the midterms. So stuff like that, if you get wind of that, it could have the little tracker and then have a little exclamation point of like, they're trying, like, we know this one's going through fast, so pay attention and act now. And then the other ones, like, wouldn't have a little exclamation point, because, yeah, it's one of those things. Every year they introduce a bunch of bad stuff that just sits around and goes nowhere. Just like every year they introduce good stuff that sits around and goes nowhere.
Yeah, that's worthy. I mean, that's something you'd want on the tracker, because that's the same as just another layer of data, right? Like, these are the ones that are important. These are the ones that are every year. And then my other goal for Every Second Matters, the way it is now, by doing it in the wiki format, and it would apply to this, I imagine, since I'm building it, that let's say they do this bullshit this year, and then next year they do the same bullshit, and the next year they do the same bullshit. It starts to accumulate in a place where we can find it instead of having to know the name of the bill and then having to go to the Congress. I mean, it's on Congress, but we'd have to know what to look for on Congress, or know who submits it every year and look at all the other stuff that they submit. Because if they're submitting dumb gun bills every year, that means they're wasting everybody's time submitting dumbass other kind of shit all the time, right? Because they're those kind of people that are like, government can fix everything, so let's have the government fixes everything bill, and the government fixes everything else bill, and the government can fix everything bill, right? Because I forgot I put it on already. So that kind of idea that you get, at least, you could filter by or quickly, see like maybe associated files or like related files, related input, where again you're like, okay, this is a bill. Are we worried about it? Well, one factor is that it happens every year and it's never gotten past second committee. Like, well, it's happened for 14 years and it's never gone past second committee. Maybe we shouldn't be running and screaming and yelling everybody, to be calling their senators about it. Maybe we can chill on this one and start holding their feet to the fire. Why you keep wasting everybody's time and money with this? How much does it cost you to put this up times 17 years? Like, this costs this guy this many millions of dollars to put this bill out every year. Start, you know what I mean? Like, we can't even do that because that information isn't available. But once that information is available, then people can go, how come this guy spent this many ads? You figure out who it is making these stupid bills. You go look at their trail and you go, why are they spending all this money? How many paid interns are they spending on this project?
Yeah, someone had to write it. Someone has to like read it out loud into the record. Like, someone has to like.
And then the people have to
time and
accept
money.
it in, so it's wasting everybody's time just to go through the process. I mean, that's how bureaucrats work. My experience was with military and a little bit with fire. Fire, I was already in the military, so I was kind of dead to it. But working for federal fire department, I guess, what do we call that? Forest Service Fire Department. Like, there's people that are in the bureaucracy that are just the most heinous of people because they know where to hide, and they just go find a little, like a hermit crab puts its ass up into its shell, and then it's got its little eyes sticking out, but its ass is way up in its shell, curved around and around and around and around somewhere in there, and its butt is in the bottom of that shell, all curved around and around, right? Its legs are all curled up, sitting all funny, and then its eyes are sticking out at you. That's how these bureaucrats go into the bureaucracy. They like wiggle their way in there like a tick, and then they find some corner, and then they just act heinous, so nobody wants to go near them. And then they've found their little niche, and they just get their paid increases. The government just pays you every once in a while because you exist. And if they're just heinous, then everyone leaves them alone. It's like that in corporations too. I've seen it in regular business, but in the government, holy crap, it's everywhere. And nobody says anything about it because they either want to get their job done and out of there. And it's like getting who knows what's going to be in there when you get rid of that, what they've done to that corner or whatever. So it's one of those things that you don't see too many people sticking sticks in there and trying to jab them out. Everybody just ignores them. And anyway, they're the ones that abuse this stuff the worst, I think. And that's the thing where how do you get them? How do you get them out of there? What's the stick? Well, awareness, right? Like shining a light on them. And then it's like, where'd all this money get spent on? Oh, shit. What is this department doing?
Right. Like, that hermit crab is safe down in the bottom of the ocean or whatever, but when he crawls up onto the beach and lays on a tourist beach towel, he gets smacked.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they're, like, oh, we're making overlays. What do you mean overlays? Yeah, we make transparent overlays for every project that like, we don't even use those anymore. So what are you making those for? Oh, well, nobody ever fired us. It's that kind of stuff. That's what I'm really talking about.
Right. I'm taking this thing and retyping it into Swahili and then submitting it. Like, okay, do we need that though?
Because one time there was a representative from Swahili here and no one turned it off. Like, no one told us to quit doing it. So we're just doing it. And they'll just shut up and do it for like 2 decades because they got paid overtime to do it. Like, oh man, look at all this stuff that happened. No one realizes that a chunk of their budget. And the thing is with government, like, if your budget was $1,000 this year, you're not going to be like, hey, let's whittle it down to $800 because everybody will give us a pat on the back. It's like, maybe let's ask for $1,100 next year, and then they'll still give us the 1,000. So, I mean, nobody cares. Everybody's still getting paid. So if there's that leech that's making $200 out of there, they don't care. As long as they're nobody's ever given them a pat on the back or any kind of incentive to, at least not from my experience. Nobody's given them any.
Oh, for sure. I remember when I worked at a hardware store. There was a guy who was like the head maintenance dude for the public schools, and every year, like sometime in December, he would come in and just have like a huge order. Like we literally would order a separate truck. Like, you can't just take stuff off the shelves. He's like, I want like 27 cases of this stuff. And we're like, yeah, we normally keep 2. So, okay, what do you want? And I remember like working with him a couple times and getting all the stuff. And I asked him like, why are you getting all this? And he goes, well, I have an extra, whatever. I have $1,000 left to spend on my budget for the year. And I'm like, but you need this stuff? Like, it's not like he was wasting it. He wasn't pocketing it. Like he was buying, weed killer or whatever, which they use. So he was just getting stuff that they need and maybe a little bit extra in case whatever. But he would get all this random stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but why not just like be like, hey man, I came like under budget this year. Like I fixed, like, are the schools fixed? Yes. Did I do it for cheaper? Yes. Like, give me a bonus. Like I've saved you money. He's like, yeah, but if I do that next year, then our budget, like let's say it was 10,000 or whatever, and he spent 9. So next year his budget's 9, and maybe he spends 8. And so then the next year it's 8 and he spends 7. And then the following year he gets 7, but like some huge furnace breaks and he needs 12. Well, you're not getting 12. Like you already proved you can fix everything with 7. So you're definitely not getting 12. Whereas if you were doing a 10 and then, okay, yeah, something like catastrophic happened, I need to like rebuild a whole school. Obviously I need more money. So like there's no incentive to not spend the money because you're hurting yourself. It's almost like doing too good at work. Like, let's say, you're hired to build, I don't know, something. You're a machinist making like rims for wheels, and you have to make 10 a day, but you work through lunch and you skip your breaks and you stay over an extra half hour and you crank out 15. Well, then tomorrow you got to build 15.
No, hold on. If you're making rims, you better be making them in sets of 4 or you're an idiot. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, whatever.
And I'm like, no, that's horrible. And then you're like 15. I'm like, whoa, that's even worse. No, not really.
Well, then you stay over to make 16, right? So you put in overtime to get that 16th one. Well, then tomorrow you have to make 16. And you're like, but I only made that extra one because obviously like I wanted to be an even number. So like I worked through lunch because like something happened. But now the expectation is so high that like your baseline is working through lunch. So what happens when you work through lunch and you're still at 15? You're expected to get that 16th one out. So now you're doing even more stuff. Like now, whatever it is. So you're almost like punished for doing a better job. And so then people go, all right, well, I'm just going to make the 8 that they told me to. Like, so I could do this faster. Like I should suggest like moving the shelf we set it on closer to the machine so I don't have to waste 15 minutes walking back and forth every day. Oh, whatever. I'm getting paid the same amount, like hourly. So I'll spend half my time walking. Like there's no incentive to make the process better so that you make more things. Whereas if you told the dude, hey man, as soon as you knock out 12, you get to go home. And if you get home at noon, then I don't care. Like I told you, I wanted 12, go home at noon. People are going to find ways to make your process better and be more efficient, which will save them money in the long run. So I don't know, but it's the same thing with budget. Oh, you found a way to make sure everything was fixed and you only spent this much. So then therefore, like that's the only money you need to fix everything, which is fine until something like out of the ordinary happens. And, like something that's been running for 30 years finally breaks. Well, you got to replace that whole thing. That took up your whole budget. And now there's no money left over to fix the rest of the stuff. And that's when you see machines breaking down because the bearing seized up and overheated because they didn't want to spend $5 for a tube of grease, which I have seen. They don't have the time or the money to do preventative maintenance, and so they end up wasting $20,000 on a machine that seizes up versus the $5 to just keep it running.
Oh shit! I gotta go look at the wind. Hold on.
All right. Well, I'll take this time to say bye, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good rest of the day. And also, I'll go ahead and say what's going on, PA Reloader and John Z. Sorry, I didn't say hi to you when you first popped in. And specifically for PA Reloader, I'm not sure if you jumped in like exactly when I was bitching about reloaders, but I think so. In which case, I apologize. It was just real fun timing. I'm bitching about reloading chats, never getting into the meat of the thing, like being real basic all the time. And then I glance down and see some dude named PA Reloader. I'm like, oh. So, anyways, oh, the other people still out there. What's going on? What do you want to talk about? Do you have any input on the stuff me and Gio were talking about as far as either like figuring out a way to kind of redo every second matters type thing or put together some kind of resource? So I know I'm definitely interested in something like that, and I just I'm speaking on behalf of myself, but I find that some sort of resource like that can keep track of everything going on and like a almost a state of a union type thing, a state of the Second Amendment address. But somewhere that's easy to use and easy to add to with people that like know what's going on, because it's not just one person is not going to be able to keep track of everything. Um, is that something you would use? And if so, what kind of features would you specifically look for? I know, again, as for me personally, the feature I think I use the most, because it's one of the things that I was doing with the legislative update for Every Second Matters, where I would just go live and read off basically everything that happened the past month. So that type of thing, a bill tracker type thing, and a call to arms when needed is like what I would probably use the most. Of whether it's just like getting all that information in the same location, so that you can really see what's going on, and then because I am a data nerd, like trending the past things, like you had mentioned, the dude introduces the same thing every single year. It always gets shot down. That reminded me, I didn't speak at the time, but that happened in Michigan when they were banning smoking indoors, like in bars and restaurants or whatever. They had been introducing that bill every year for like 10 years in a row. And then on like the 11th year, it passed. And all of a sudden now there's no more smoking in restaurants. Which, I mean, whatever side you're in on that, I personally don't agree with it. Although I don't like eating when someone's smoking around me. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but I guess that's just my libertarian stance of that.
I don't like smoking when someone's eating around me.
Yeah, you don't want to, you don't want your dirty cigarette to like taste like food or whatever. It's gross.
So, can you take me to full screen? I got my Techno Beat electronic keyboard here.
Solo layouts, yeah.
$7.
Oh damn.
$7. I'm using the PA system, quality PA system on it. Can you hear it? It's pretty good. Oh, you can't hear it?
No, I don't hear anything.
Oh, if I put it over here, does that make it easier to hear?
Oh, yeah, I can hear that.
Pretty awesome. So it's all this can be all, what's that called? What's that called when you make your own music?
Oh, I don't know. Mixing tracks, I don't know.
No. What do they call that? Not proprietary. Whatever the word is for music being proprietary. Self-produced, maybe? Anyway. $7.
Cool. Yeah, you want to get the band back together? I can play drums.
Mainly, I'm looking to make my own intros to the BitTervin videos and projects. Now we can do it by pushing this fill in. See, that's basically an intro. I got to figure out how to record. I think this microphone is so that I can record stuff, right? And then go ding, ding, ding with it. I just don't know how to do it. I don't know what all the buttons do. Okay. See, that one says record. You'd think it'd be recording right now, right? Nope. Oh, I don't know how to play anything on this. I only have this to make intros, and I'm planning on doing them like this. That'll be my intro.
Sounds good to me.
This thing's awesome, though. $7. 99 instruments.
Weight in copper.
What?
That's worth $7 worth of electronic parts.
I'm sure there's $7 worth of electronics in here. I almost bought a loudspeaker so that I could do this. Does this sound like really better than my regular microphone?
No, it actually kind of sounds like washed out a little bit.
Oh, I think it sounds like a cool cop microphone. That's all this is. Megaphone. Anyway, I almost bought a megaphone for $3 at a different shop, and then I went to the other shop. I was like, "No, I'm not gonna waste $3 on a megaphone that's broken. Could have had to fix it." And then I got this for not even being broken for $7. But I'm thinking it must do the thing where you talk into it and then it plays it back like a rap song. That'll be really good. I just have to figure out how to do it.
Oh man. Okay, I figured you need to record into the thing so that it can play back on loop. Fuck that, dude.
Right, exactly, that kind of stuff.
That's still one of my favorite Gun Channels moments, like ever.
Finger, this is record right there. It says record. So you would think that would be for recording something. And then
Do you have to like hold it? Like as long as you're holding it, then whatever you play records, and then you can play it back.
You would think, except I want it to be like where I can go, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that. You know, it'll sound different, but like same thing on each key.
Right, yeah, you can like basically remap the key to a different sound effect.
Right. I mean, I paid $7. I expect to get that kind of functionality out of here.
Yeah, I mean, a $5 keyboard, I could understand not doing that. But
4 AA batteries.
Oh, I mean, come on, that's a powerhouse.
Yeah, it's not like it's using D cells or something like the old days.
At least 2 of those batteries are specifically designed to be able to remap your keys to sounds you record with the microphone. You got a manual on that, or you have to
No.
Google it?
It was from this, what do you call it? The Salvation Army store.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes they're like taped to the back or whatever.
It's in a box, though. I'm gonna go see if the box is
Because like I'm the kind of dork that keeps the manuals to stuff, and I either have like for all my appliances, it's in like one drawer. It's like these are all my appliance manuals, but for my other stuff, I try and normally find a way to like stash it on the thing. Like I said, like tape it to the back or something, because I'm a dork.
It says record and playback mode, but it just points to these 2 buttons. So,
So obviously, just push those buttons.
oh shit! I'm a master of this $7 keyboard. So you have to hit record, and then you have to hit record again. So watch. Now will it record this, motherfucker? No. Damn it.
So it just records the. Does it record the keyboard input?
Well, maybe not. Maybe I didn't hit the button good enough. Okay, now will it record this? No. Maybe I'll turn it off and turn it back on. Okay, now it'll record this. Yeah, just the keys, I guess. Okay, just the keys.
There's a microphone in there for a reason. You should be able to.
Yeah, what if I wanted to sing? Yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to. What I do it? I hit the button. All right, so if I hit the button and go, oh, that didn't work. Damn, that would have been handy. So it's just for the keys, I guess. So I have to make this keys sound like a voice synthesizer, synthesized voice, instrument 64. This is the synthesizer. No, it didn't synthesize anything. This is synthesizing the voice. No, it's not even synthesizing. That's see, I can make a career out of this. I like what they're thinking.
Well, I mean, I know that thing kicks out a pretty cool drum beat, but if you want a drummer, I would join your band.
I don't need a drummer. I can't got this.
That's what I'm saying. I know I'm not really useful, but
You were replaced by this drum over here.
like, can it play my copyrighted "Shall Not Be Infringed" song?
Well, what I'm hoping to do is take this thing here and set that right there. And then take this thing I got here. No. Do I have a cord anymore for this? Take this cord and see if I can plug this into here. Would be the goal. And then this thing's getting pretty beat up. I should learn how to play it before it gets too beat up. Plug that in. Get this thing. Is it working? Oh, I guess I killed the batteries on it already. I gotta get batteries on this guy. This will be worth it. Let me go get batteries on this. Oh shit, I hope it keeps the stuff in its memory. How can I be out the AAA batteries?
Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. Ooh. Heavy metal Second Amendment. Oh, you guys cooling off now? Yeah. Oh, good boy. pretty good at playing the dog drums. Yeah. Oh, you know what? It is a little early, but you guys want dinner? Yeah, you guys want dinner? I'll do that now because I'm going out later tonight. And this way, if I feed them now, I can let them outside before I leave the house. And then I know they'll be good. Okay, get your food. All right, take it easy, John. He's taking off because he's stinky.
I was just getting good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's working.
Banned the large capacity clips.
I gotta remember to switch.
Banned the large capacity clips. Banned the large capacity clips. Like keys falling down. Fire two blasts. Fire two blasts.
Right? Does that work? Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, what did I do? Oh, I hit it to record. Oh, did this thing die? No. What did I do? Oh, I killed that one, I think. Oh, I think I killed 30 caliber clip, or I think I killed that one. Damn it. So now I just got to figure out how to get that to go into here.
Fire two black. 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 Fire two black.
Pretty good, huh? So this
Yeah,
thing is playing now. What the hell? Where's that thing coming from? I had the volume on like absolutely the bottom. And it's coming through here louder than shit. How was it able to do that? That's so weird. I guess because over here it's not. How do I get to volume? There it is. So it must kick out more power when I play. Then when I'm hitting one of these, find the volume. Oh, I know where the volume is. What am I saying? The volume is this.
Shoulder thing that goes up.
Whoa, I'm going way louder.
Shoulder thing that goes up. Shoulder thing that goes up. Shoulder thing that goes up. Shoulder thing that goes up.
Shoulder thing that goes up.
It's got to come up with some kind of now song to make, and then play it on top of one of these tempos, and it's like the song makes itself. You know how to work any of this stuff? All I gotta do is figure out what buttons to push at the right time. It's like music. That's how easy it is to make music. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I've never really been good at making that kind of music.
$107 is all it cost me. $107. And this cord, which I had already later.
So practically free.
Yeah, it may as well have been nothing. Now what's going on? There we go. I just got to figure out this whole rhythm. Oh, there's a rhythm over here. And then melodies. And then these chords. See, I push the chords and nothing happens. So I got to figure that part out. That's rhythm on.
Yeah, and then you can like pick which rhythm you want.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Now this cycles through the rhythms. I don't know which one it is. This one's probably country. And then I can go their tempo up and down. So what that stops the. See, you don't have to even play nothing.
Shoulder thing that goes up.
Once I figure out how to program this to be the words I want, then this thing will be the music. And then we're done. Then it's basically gravy.
Shoulder thing that goes up.
That's a little sample. Little sample.
Shoulder thing that goes up.
Yep, I just got to figure out which button to push in the right time. And that's it. Now I'm done. Then I got it all figured out. All right, well, I'm pretty sure I'm way beyond. Oh, crap. I'm a half an hour over my video that I was supposed to be writing an intro for. Now you can't even.
Oh, my bad.
That's my fault. I was playing with this thing. I didn't think I was going to be buying it, but I seen it at the store, and I was like, for $7, I'll take it apart, right? I'll make my video on how to take it apart or whatever. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this thing's brand new in the box. Like, there's nothing wrong with this. It wasn't even opened. It was just brand new. Somebody was basically getting rid of this amazing $7 full-size keyboard. It's like the size. This is literally the size of grand piano with a computer on board, like one of those grand pianos with a computer on it. That's basically what I got. Look at this microphone jack, solid state from what I understand. Stereo maybe. Nothing over there. Oh no, this is integrated microphone storage.
Wow, that's like super premium.
A lot of them fancy models don't even hold its own microphone in the back of it. And they don't have their own power source. And I got a door for those so they don't fall out. It's pretty good. I might modify it with some rubber pads, you know, for the studio that it's going to go in. I'll build for it. Anyway, I gotta go. Thanks for hosting them.
Right. Yeah, man. Thanks for jumping in. So, I think I'm gonna shut this down too. I've been doing it for a couple hours. So, thanks everyone who's watching. Jump in next time like these guys did. Thanks to Toby for stopping by and saying hello. And always thanks for G-Web jumping in. Always fun talking with you. And we'll brainstorm that Second Amendment stuff sometime and Second Amendment. We'll solve it. So, anyways, G-Web, you want to play us an outro?
Oh, I already shut it down, but
Oh, that's fine. I'll give you something to work for. You've been listening to Smeggies Cave. Talking Second Amendment, talking about guns. Thanks for listening. Stop on by next time.